What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the J&J Toy Giants YouTube channel, Toy Unboxing. I am your host, JD. We got a fun-filled, packed episode for you today. I'm going to go over a lot of stuff, a lot of toys, so let's start the show. All right, so I actually have been seeing this a couple times in Walmart because I wasn't aware that MEGO actually resurged itself as far as like reissuing a bunch of their old MEGO series that they had before. Because I remember MEGO did a lot of Star Trek and things of that nature in like the late 60s or through the 70s. So I wasn't aware, and I came across this a couple times and actually figured I might get it because I love Rocky. And actually just the depicting of Rocky Part 1. And I saw this at Heroes Hideout, my local shop that I like to go to all the time. And I saw Anakin Skywalker. I haven't been able to find him, so it might have been like a trade-in that somebody had with their Star Wars collection, or it looks brand new, so it might be regular brand new figure. But let's check them out. All right, so we're going to go over the first figure of this video today. It is the Black Series Padawan version of Anakin Skywalker. So you can see this is the way he looks from Episode 2, The Clone Wars. And this was actually a very hard to get Black Series. I'm assuming it's because he was from the first line of the series. I got to this figure franchise very late, and I think the first one that I bought was what was it? It escapes me for a second. Yes, it was the Lando Calrissian from Empire Strikes Back. So I kind of like started collecting these like a madman for the last year, and this was one of the ones that I wanted. For whatever reason, I just couldn't find him, either because it's too expensive or he was just not available. I couldn't find him at all. So for the Black Series, which are basically like Marvel Legends / WWE Elite type figures for Star Wars, you really can't say too much bad about this figure. I mean, the face sculpt looks spot on, with this little scowl that he always has, because, that's precursor to Darth Vader. You can see his Padawan little ponytail there, if you can call it a ponytail. And I forget what they call it in the actual canon. But you have his lightsaber and pretty much all his deco, and the way that they sculpted his body is really spot on from Episode 2. Now, a lot of people stated that Episode 2 was kind of a boring one because it was like the emo Anakin Skywalker. I don't think that that's the case. I thought it was very necessary the way that it was shot, and this is my opinion. The way that the story had to evolve, and where you'd see the precursor to Darth Vader. Somewhere, somehow, you had to see his breaking point. Spoiler alert. Of when, obviously when his mom passes away because she got captured by the Sand People. That's where he just kind of like, that's the last straw, and then he just wouldn't, risk ever losing someone again, i.e. Padme. But, I like this particular figure specifically because of its significance to the canon, and it's a great collection to have. I have Luke in his X-Wing gear. I have Darth Vader, which was part of the 40th anniversary of the Empire Strikes Back, and it was in the box that looks like the mail-away box that they had back in when the Star Wars figures first came out, before, because they couldn't get the toys in time when the movie came out, they issued like what they call the empty box campaign, where your parents would buy the box, and it would come with a certificate and also a diorama on the back inside the box, where you would fill out the certificate and your parents would mail it in, and automatically with basically stating that you would get these figures first next Christmas or that summer. I believe it was that summer specifically, but I could be wrong. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much, I actually still have the box, and because it's just a piece of history, really, and I love the way that they did that. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I kind of like diverted away from, the Black Series because I'm only going to get the ones that I want. Obviously, I'm going to get the Mandalorian series. I can't find Mondo, I should say Hondo, Mondo. But I got baby Yoda, or Grogu, now that he's named. So I already have that. And also be sure to check that particular video out that I did when I unboxed Grogu. And yeah, so let's go to the next figure. All right, so the last figure that we're going to be going over with you today is the MEGO series movie line, which is going to be Rocky from Rocky Part 1, starring Sylvester Stallone. Now, just real quick before I get into the review or the unboxing, same thing. Those gloves, I tell you, were the hardest I've ever had to do as far as putting on accessories. Dude, like, I felt like I was going to break the arm because it still has his hands that he had out of the box. And so you got to put these gloves on top of his hands, and they're like super, super like narrow as far as like in the actual inside the glove itself. So you can see his hand's still in there. So I didn't want to break the thing. And because of that, his left hand kind of drops a little bit because it's like now super loose. I can't keep it up in this boxing stance. But like, other than that, I came across, as I said earlier, this figure quite a couple times, and I was like, oh man, this would be cool to actually pick up. But like, I was doing other things and I was picking up other things. I was like, nah, I don't want to, get a little bit too much. But there's a thing in the collectors that I've been beginning to experience, a phrase, what we call figure fate. The Major Brothers talk about this a lot, where, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And of course, this was meant to be for me. And I love this figure, and I'm a big Rocky fan. I'm actually, as soon as my wife picked this up for me, I started to go on to eBay and fell down the rabbit hole of adding the Jack specific Rocky figures from, like, they had quite a few different series. And so I'm going to start collecting these. And once I collect those, this guy is going to go with it. But so MEGO, back in the late 60s through the 70s, and then I think it died off in the 80s because a lot of other figures started to kind of not pollute the market, but essentially it was pretty full as far as the articulative type of figures. And so this was the first type of figure that had a bunch of different points of articulation other than the G.I. Joe, which was in the 60s. MEGO, I thought, went out of business, and I guess it came back again because they are, this is, I think, wave 7, if I'm not mistaken, this one for the Rocky. But yeah, I mean, they had a lot of figures. I know the Star Trek ones were a big hit. Charlie's Angels. Those are the ones that come out. Muhammad Ali actually was their first boxing figure, and I believe they came out in 1976. It didn't sell well because of the whole issue with, and I don't want to be a historian here, but when Muhammad Ali, before his name was Cassius Clay, he was drafted. And back in the day, they used to draft you when you became of age, 18 years old. They could draft you to serve in the military. And during that time frame in the late 60s, Vietnam was going on. And he refused to be drafted. When your name was called, he didn't step forward. He says, I'm not going. And what happens is when you refused to get drafted, you get sent to jail. And because of that whole fiasco, when Muhammad Ali got out of jail and he got his boxing license again, he started fighting again. They came out with this in 76. So that didn't sell well because of that. And it was, amongst other things, obviously newer figures were coming out and not a lot of kids were buying MEGO toys. So, but as far as like the Rocky, this is depicting from his robe and his gear from Rocky 1. As you can see, it has the Shamrock meats incorporated on the back of his robe, Italian Stallion. The head sculpt is pretty cool for what MEGO is. There is other ones that I want to get. There is the Bruce Lee one. There was a Andre the Giant one that one of my buddies, I call him a buddy. He's a fellow group, or the actual admin, one of the admins of the Fig Cave. And Tommy Paradise, he offered to sell me the Andre the Giant. Tommy, if you're hearing this, I didn't ignore you. I will get to you about possibly buying that Andre the Giant off of you if you ever watch this. But I'll probably get a hold of him at some point. But yeah, the Andre the Giant was one of them. And so this is a pretty cool figure to pick up. Obviously, it's going to be going on my miscellaneous shelf because I don't have a Rocky section yet. But that is it. So definitely, if you guys get this, you can take the robe off, but then this little plastic piece pretty much keeps it together, because this robe doesn't really stay on that well when you don't have it. I'm probably just going to keep it on. But, it doesn't have any peg holes because it can stand up by itself if you pose it. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that is it for this episode. We'll be with you in just a second. Thank you so very much, everybody. And joining us for this edition of the J&J Toy Giants YouTube channel, Toy Unboxing. Again, I am your host, JD. Be sure to like and subscribe. And also comment on our video submissions on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also, we're on TikTok. Just wanted to give a shout out to the brand new Facebook group that I'm a part of. For those of you who are in the Texas area, but it's all good for everyone across the United States and in the world. Tejas Toy Nation, thank you so very much for inviting me. I love being part of this new group. And so I'm going to leave a link in the description on this video submission. A lot of good people, great collectors, and thank you so very much. Be safe and keep on cruising. Bye. ¿Qué onda, muchacho? Arriba las manos, caballo moreno, pelea.